This was the trade package that I ended up putting together. It was J.R. Ritchie, not retaining anything, Brandon Nimmo, and this is where you guys can call this cheese or whatever. I call it, this is how you have to play OOTP and stay consistent. This guy looks like he's going to be really good, but already hurt, already fragile. So he's a guy who we're going to make that note of. Marion Boyd, who he's a minor league free agent signing. He's not going to be anything more than a minor league free agent. Willie Rodriguez, who also looks like he's going to be good, but again, he's a finesse pitcher, torn elbow ligament. He's done. And then RJ Cope, who was a minor league free agent signing, who I don't think is going to be very useful as a bat. And he's going to be borderline useful as a pitcher, so let that be someone else's problem. So we're going to go ahead and complete this trade. Zach Neto's going straight on the injured list. Spencer Strider's coming straight in to be that fourth starter. Hasn't pitched in a bit, so he's already ready to go. Another thing that I was going to look at is, with all those trades done, let's complete minor league system. We'll enable promotion and demotion, move him up. Then let me just hit that again. Yeah, okay, perfect. And now we are going to get into a little bit of a change in scenery, and it's because we're jumping into spreadsheets, baby. So this is a spreadsheet that I got from a guy on TikTok named, I believe, Defer It to the Game. I'll be sure to link his social down in the comments below. Sent me an email about it, so that's huge. Real quick, I do need to add Spencer Strider's information in here, and I'll need to add a couple other people's information in here. But essentially, it shows, hey, this is everyone in our organization, how we found them, what salary they're on, bats left, right, stuff like that. But what it'll let us do is looks at our current year, which we can add Zach Neto. He's out for a bit. Okay. Can't add him because I haven't added him in yet. But it shows our depth charts of who is where and who's doing what. It shows that we have a flex position here of an extra infielder versus extra relief pitcher. And it just kind of gives us a high-level view of keeping things intact. Who's the next guy up? Josh Bell's the next reliever up. Who's the next starting pitcher up? Lance Williams is the next guy up because he's on the injured list here. He's on rehab. It shows me who's on the injured list. So we have Patrick Forbes, Ian Lowry. We got Yuri Perez and Yeri Perez. Yuri and Yuri. But if we look over here, hey, this is at the year end. These are the people that we have to think about. This is the reason that we're going to bring him or not bring him back. Here's option players that we have. So looking at it, Cal Riley, he's a 47 rating. He's got $20 million currently. He's 34 years old. We maybe want to bring him back, but he's getting a little old. He's getting expensive, and he may not be the best at his position anymore. Luis Angel Acuna, on the other hand, hey, he's not really that old. Same with Dax Fulton, but Dax Fulton's price is way too much for what we're getting out of him, and same with Luis Angel Acuna. Jeremiah Estrada, he's getting a little bit old. He's getting a little bit expensive. Jack Leiter, he's getting old and he may not be the best. Jesus Luzardo, he's getting old and he's expensive. Stuff like that. In this one, it's, hey, here are our team options. Or here are our options. What are the option type? Paul Skeens is going to be on a player opt-out option. Are we going to bring him back? Maybe. And that's kind of up to him because it's a player option. Julio Rodriguez and Josh Hader are team options, and yes, we're bringing them back. So that brings us to next year. What does next year look like? Well, it looks like this. So right now, we already have these players penciled in to play every single day. We have Paul Skeens, if he comes back, Damian DeMauro, Lance Williams, Spencer Strider, someone else potentially there. We don't know. Nestor Cafe, Ian Lowry, Nick Green, Josh Hader, Devin Williams, and Zhao. So that leaves us potentially 3 spots here in the pitching area. Octavio Rivas, because Cal Riley's not on contract for next year, so that potentially leaves us 1 player there. And if you look, we got Cole Young, Cameron Decker, Elan Fernandez, Marcelo Meyer, Ethan Holiday. So we have an extra spot here, and then Julio Rodriguez, Jason Dominguez, Ketek Park, and then an extra spot there. What does that look like? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is how we have been able to defer all of this information. So this is our roster. These are the guaranteed people. And again, Spencer Strider, all of this is formulas, so I just need to go ahead and put his information in there. In fact, I'll show you guys how that's showing you how the sausage is made. This is how you do it. You just go to roster. This is my full organization roster. Go to report, open in browser. I grab here, go all the way to the bottom. Boom, done. Control C, go to the depth chart, go to data, go here, Control Shift V, and it puts all that information in. So let's see. Is Spencer Strider still mad here? No, it says that he's there. And then now we could probably say, hey, Zach Neto, boom, he's a shortstop. He is hurt, some sort of thing, and we can put that there. But now we can look at our next year team. We can see, hey, I have 19 players that I want to have on staff next year. This is kind of the tier rating that I say, like Julio Rodriguez, Cole Young, Damian DeMiro, Cameron Decker, absolutely have to haves. And then the rest of them, like Paul Skeens, the reason I say he's B tier is because he's making almost $40 million. These are the people that I say, hey, we could probably put these guys on the block and trade them or waive them or whatever. These are the guys who are not good enough potentially for a full-time role in the MLB, but are probably going to be on the roster, but could be moved on from if the right thing comes back. These are players who are ARB eligible into next year. Are we going to bring them back? Yes or no? These are the people that are expiring free agents at the end of next season. And these are players that, again, we might bring them back. We might not. Their current salaries are expensive. And then here are options for the next season. So coming back over to this, right in the middle, this is kind of like the next guys up. These are the guys who may not make the opening day roster, but when rosters expand, these are the guys who I want to be on those rosters. If they're Rule 5 eligible, which that's another thing that I need to start doing is, hey, are they Rule 5 eligible? And potentially have a thing here that says, hey, these guys are going to be Rule 5 eligible. You may want to add them to your roster. That's the next iteration. But these are the guys. Ooh, Amarian Boyd is no longer here. So we just watch. This is how you do it. You delete it, dash, boom. And then these guys, we will, not what I wanted to do. These guys, Control C, Control V, and then dash, boom. This guy was D tier. This guy was C tier. Perfect. Okay. So that just kind of shows you like, hey, these guys aren't making any money. Roberto Caballero is going to be our shortstop next year potentially. And this is just kind of giving us the lowdown of who's next in line to come up, how many spots are available, who are they available to, and so on and so forth. Which brings us to the next thing. Here's our 5-year team. Why is it our 5-year team? Because these are players who potentially are going to be on our team in the next 5 years. This just goes over who's kind of our top prospects in that organization, who's under contract, because you'll see Damian DeMiro is there, Mark Markham's here, Javier Ruiz is there, Cole Bills is there, Lance Williams is here. But you also have Julio Rodriguez still here, Cole Young still here, Ian Lowry, Nestor Cafe still there. But a lot of these guys are kind of the top depth players of the next 5 years and players that are going to be around for the next 5 years. So these are players that I'm like, hey, I don't really want to get rid of these guys. And so these are the next guys up in terms of ratings. Like, hey, if worst comes to worst, which RJ Cope is no longer there, so we'll just dash him for now. If worst comes to worst, these are guys who may or may not be around long term. This is kind of my big board of who's good, who has the highest ceiling versus lowest floor, stuff like that. And you can see I only have it out to the top 100. And then I have positional depth over here to where it's like, hey, these are the guys that are who we're really looking for. Just note that we're not going to have a lot of right fielders or left fielders because you end up in the corner outfield. You don't get drafted as a corner outfielder. Vice versa as second and third base. We're going to have more shortstops naturally. And then also these are guys above a certain potential floor. The potential floor, I believe, was 40. Might expand that in the next iteration to like 38 just because it'll expand our potential pool. But at the same time, not really wanting to jump too deep into this in this iteration. And this is just me showing you guys how I'm starting to make my decisions going forward. And that is because if we look, hey, I have drafted players over here. I have every single one of my draft picks, and I went through and said, hey, this is who this person was. Here is the status of the highest that they've ever made it, and what happened at their career arc. So you can see, like, Kevin Monell ended up retiring with us before he ever made the major leagues. We have some guys like Adonis Guzman and Hudson Barrett who ended up getting released. And you'll see that there's a lot of released players here, and that is because I messed up and let the AI fully take over whenever I should have been the one to take over, so to speak. All of these guys are going to be in the minor leagues. These guys are unsigned yet. And that's why they're not in here yet. Let me and that should be good. And all of these guys are in the minor leagues. But look, I let AI take over, and it already released one of my players. I already went ahead and gave a minor league contract to bring him back. But it's simple. If I see that there's a red flag next to them, I can see, okay, this person may or may not be in our minor league system. And then look, it says Mike Perrier is invalid now, so he was released because I might have put him in a trade in a second ago, so I might have to go back and double check this. But yeah, we can look at these guys and see who was released, who's still a part of the team, so on and so forth. Next thing is IAFA. We can see, hey, where is everyone? How are they still rated? And have I had success or failures? And so we can see right now we've had 10 total IAFA guys. Of those 10 guys, we have 7 still in our minor league system, and 3 of them we have released. Ricky DeLira, I know, is already on another team. Tony Cartagena is on another team. Alex Torres, I believe, retired. And then it looks like I missed on Ramon Romero and Daniel Lamelli, but I may have hit on Carbajal being $1.75 million. Might be a serviceable infielder for us. Jose Bonilla looks like an absolute home run at $3 million. And then Alfredo Lopez was kind of the beginning of the, hey, you're going to have to spend the whole budget to get the top end player. Daniel Rodriguez still looks good, and Ivan Armento looks decent. But this is my Pierre de Resistance. I went through and looked at, number one, what countries were we going after in terms of minor league free agents. I think Bobby Parra was just traded, so I'm going to put that. And I think Javier Cazares was just traded as well. So it shows, number one, where did we pick them up from? And number two, when we scouted them, so we can see overall. I think I have No, I did make an entire list of, hey, in this year, this is how successful we were. But nevertheless, I can see what countries potentially these players have come from, which it's cool that, like, we have a Swiss player, we have a Russian player, we have Netherlands Antilles player, Honduras, Japan, Colombia. And we can kind of see, like, hey, most of our players do come from Dominican Republic, Panama, Venezuela. Yeah, that's pretty much our top three right there. We have a couple from South Korea, Nicaragua, Mexico, and Netherlands Antilles. But we know where a majority of our players are coming from. And we can see, like, hey, these players went to the major leagues. These players are still in our minor leagues. These players got released. Some of them get released immediately because it's like, let's see, this guy. This guy is going to get released eventually. He's a catcher, so that's the only reason he's still on the team is because you always need catching depth. But he's a 20 potential. He's never going to be anything for us, but he stays in our organization as organizational depth, stuff like that. So looking at the releases isn't a big deal. What I am looking at is, hey, this Damian DeMuro, he's going to be one of our biggest players just in general. Antonio Venegas is going to be one of our biggest players. We got some hits here just from discovered players, which is going to be really cool to see over the long term. Like, hey, how many players are we discovering? How are they shaping up to be? Like, is this Raul Ramos guy going to be good? Willie Rodriguez looks like he already got released. So, well, apparently not, because he still has... Oh, I manually put him in. Interesting. But, yeah. This is just something I wanted to show you guys and share with you guys. So this is going to be a shorter episode, just over trying to make sure that my game gets steady, my game gets back together, and show you guys how some people do their stuff. I know people have a notebook that they keep track of stuff with, which I absolutely do as well, just because of how cool and how it's nice to have your thought process sometimes put out there. But yeah, just looking at this, the 5-year team is something that is kind of a way to see, like, hey, who on this team's untouchable. Next year team is a good way to see, like, hey, is there anyone from this year's team that I can trade? Like Trey Morgan, Patrick Forbes, and Christian Little are the three that I'm like, hey, these three guys, we can package these guys, not even worry about them next year, and potentially pick up a package of a player this year that's going to be very useful for us. So little things like that to keep in mind, because they're not in our plans for next year, and we can add a 20th player here who is an A or B tier player and not a current year backup of a backup who only plays against right-handed players. So stuff like that. You can already see, though, we have Elon Fernandez, who is a top infielder this year in our area, whatever you want to call it. And I have him already on our team for next year. He is going to be that utility infielder. Ethan Holiday might end up being a 1 year, 2 year and done kind of player. But at the winter meetings every single year, this is where I'm going to fill this out. I'm going to go through, make sure that everyone who was scouted over the years put into this roster, going to make sure that all roster changes are made, stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Looking forward to the rest of this series as well. But let's just jump into here real quick. We just finished the first year player draft. Let's go ahead and look at who we signed. So here are our big guys. It seems like this year the college players are broken. Really looks like if you're going to get high value rounds, you're going to have to go through and get high school players. And if you look, there's a lot of pitchers that I ended up getting. But this Chris Ingracia guy, he looks phenomenal. He looks like he can hold down a corner outfield position very soon. Show Me Christian Academy. Absolutely love it. But competition level was average. Overall, if he has an average competition level and he's putting up slugging and OPS, if he's putting up slugging over 1,000 and OPS in the 16 to 1,400 range, this is going to be a surefire minor league depth guy. But his bat just looks very decent at the time. And I will say this is one of the worst draft classes I've seen in a minute. So it's kind of like, meh. This is one of the best bats in the entirety of the class. Next was Dave Beltran, who ended up coming from University of Chicago or University of Illinois, Chicago, something like that. Looks like he was having himself a pretty decent year over colleges. But another thing that I've been doing for drafting specifically is I look to see, hey, is this guy in the draft league? And if he is in the draft league, how's he doing? He's batting 250, 300 OBP, 400 slugging. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to slug a lot. But on the flip side of that, he still has an OPS plus of 121, which tells me it's a heavily pitching favored draft, first off. Because if 250 is a 21% better than average, something's going on there. He does have gap power potential, and he has the speed to take care of it. So this may be a guy who just goes in and gets 50 doubles a year, 0 homers, but 50 doubles a year, 40 doubles a year, 30 doubles a year, and just doesn't strike out. Puts the ball in play and doesn't strike out. Can play a decent infield. If he gets a little bit of TCR and gets a little bit more infield range error and arm, this is going to be a stud shortstop. Perfect personality of adaptability and work ethic. Loyalty is just a plus. But getting him with a 70th overall pick in this draft class as this hitter is huge. He's not going to walk a lot, which I don't care about too much. I'm not a person who cares too much about walks if you're going to be putting the ball in play and putting it in play for hits. So that's just me. Ken Curry was my 3rd overall pick. Ground baller, decent stamina. Looks like he's going to have good peripherals. He's just going to need to make sure that the slider, sinker, splitter combo develops. Because if the fastball and cutter don't develop and one of those other pitches don't develop, he's not going to be good at all. But another thing that I like to see about him is his ERA improved almost every single year over his full years. Yes, the innings did decrease, but I don't really care about that. He limited the long ball, didn't walk a whole lot, struck out a lot, whip was around 1. Yeah, I can't be mad about that. And in fact, the strikeout ratio went up in his last year of high school. So absolutely loved that. Matt Bohannon, nickname Tom, perfect personality, already looks decent, and I'm thinking if this guy ends up being like this and his stuff actually, like the fastball changeup combo, sinker, sure, it's a 3rd pitch, but if he's able to get those 3 pitches up and we get a little bit of a stamina increase from him, he may be a starter, a 5th starter type. So just an interesting guy. Hunter Burks might be one of the most complete pitchers in this draft. Great stamina, hold runners. Looks like he's going to be very decent. Slider, changeup, cutter. Interesting profile. So no true fastball, but is going to sit potentially 96 with it. Cool. Matt Stanford, another guy, looks great. Again, was this Matt Stanford or did it? Yeah, Matt Stanford was just the guy that I just talked about. And then Dave Martin, potential triple digits, leader in adaptability, sucks. I don't like that there was no adaptability, but the control needs to come along. But fastball, changeup, sinker, potential starter. In the 10th round of this draft, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send it on him. The rest of our drafted players look as follows. Let's go ahead and go to the draft history. So yeah, we got Ingracia, Beltran, Curry, Bohannon, Burks. We got Joe Ducharme, who, again, great personality, great outfield range, so could potentially play center field. He's a JUCO freshman, great gap power, decent avoid K, good BABIP. So he's going to be a guy to put the ball in play and not strike out a lot. But he's not going to have a lot of homers. He's going to have a lot more doubles than homers. That's fine. Gabe Sampson was another guy. He's from Georgia Tech, so good competition. He's struggling in the draft league right now, but I'm not too concerned about it considering he's already got a 60-40 split, 34 overall rated, and he's a guy who has a potential 85-90. Like, this guy is going to be gross if he develops. If he develops into a 70, because I don't think he's going to stop there, a 70-50, he's going to be a serviceable major league pitcher. He just needs to get that control up to 45 or at 40, and he could be a middle reliever for us. And I just see him as one of those guys who might end up being with us for the long term. Stanford, no. Danny Matos, best catcher in the class by far, and that kind of tells you where this class was. Overall, if his bat has to stick like this, if he's going to make it to the major leagues, but good work ethic, great catching profile. So he's going to be a depth catcher for us for a minute. Not mad about it, but just kind of the situation that we're in. Greg Dory, this is another guy who I really like the look of. He just needs to get that control up. A 5-pitch mix. Just if we can get that control up. In fact, this is the one time that I'm going to sit here and say, I don't care about stamina. I don't care about movement. I want you to focus on control and then focus on movement. Because, well, focus on control a little bit and then focus on movement. Because if he's going to give up a lot of home runs, then he's going to be cooked, to say the least. Fastball stuff, you're fine working on your fastball stuff. Let's work on the slider stuff. Let's work on the curveball stuff. Looking at it, I couldn't care less about the changeup. Let's see if we can work on that splitter stuff. The changeup just never develops. I'd love for him to just not even worry about it. He's a guy who's been on our radar since April of 2029 and has just gone up and up and up and up and up and up and up. The stuff potential's gone up. The movement potential stayed the same. The control potential stayed decreased a little bit. But he's a guy who we went out and got. I don't know how he was on our radar in 2030, 2031. That makes no sense. Whatever. That makes no sense to me. So yeah, that was him. Holden, I mean, he looks decent. It looks like he's going to be an outfielder / catcher. Dan Sharp, just great personality, decent peripherals. Yeah. Jeremy Nelson, he looks like a guy that if TCR goes a little bit his way, he could be a very average pitcher. He's been pitching great in the development league right now, so just keep on doing your thing, brother. Tyler Jenkins, decent personality, okay bat, okay outfield. Yeah. Nick Polsgrove, again, perfect personality, terrible bat. Just hoping that infield range might pop up just a little bit for him. Again, another JUCO freshman. Yeah. Jeff Bowman, potential starter, just no control. Hoping that he can figure out some control. I don't know. This guy was already released by my person. I don't know why he was released, so I've already sent a contract back out to him. And then the last guy, David Norton, I just needed an extra catcher for catcher depth. Yeah, it's tough out here. It is tough out here. But let's go ahead. I'm going to hold you guys hostage for the rest of this episode. Good win there, bad loss there, and a bad loss there. We are at the All-Star break, so let's go ahead and see who has made the All-Star roster. Damian DeMiro makes it in his first season. Atta baby Damian, he's already got 2.4 WAR. Huge. Paul Skeens made it. He's going to be the starter too. That's awesome. Marcelo Hirsch is absolutely shoving. 4.2 WAR already is insane. Josh Hader also makes the All-Star game. His ratings don't look great. He looks like he's supposed to be regressing, but he's just pitched his butt off every single year we've had him. So absolutely love that we made that trade. I don't even remember who we gave up in that trade. Let's look. So we traded Junior Caminero and Nolan Jones. Nolan Jones is no longer with the organization. Nolan Jones traded and then became a free agent that offseason. Junior Caminero was traded. And I mean, he's still with the team, but he's making a lot of money. In fact, let's look at the contract. Tampa Bay Rays is already holding 100% of it. So he will be a free agent at the end of the year and might be a guy who we might decide, you know what, let's go for him. But let's get back into it. So Josh Hader made it, and I think that's going to be our only other guy besides your one own true Julio Rodriguez. I'm not seeing any of the other players that we made trades away from. Like, this is the first year I haven't seen a George Kirby or a Logan Gilbert. So that's good to see for us, knowing that we kind of made the right trades there. Really upset to see, where is he? Ezekiel Tovar. I tried very hard to trade for him whenever Brooksley was just not doing the job, and they wanted every prospect under the sun. So couldn't make it happen, but I really wish we would have him right now. Looking at it right now, Braden Nett, Andreas Munoz, that's a trade that might have gotten away from us, but again, he's also making $22 million. Not a guy who I'm too concerned about not having. Jae-Young Kim, Gabriel Moreno, Caden Cunningham. Jackson Holiday, again, I was really trying to push hard for him because I thought it would be cool to have Jackson and Ethan on the same team. But that's a guy who we were never going to be able to afford at that rating, at that whatever. Slater DeBron. I feel like this is a guy who I wanted to draft, but just didn't pull the trigger on. And yeah, that's about where we're at right now. Looking at the next wave of talent, let's see who all is here. So for us, we have Daniel Rodriguez, who's been absolutely incredible. We have Jose Bonilla, who looks like he's going to be the real deal in the next couple of years. I'm surprised our shortstop's not also on here, but I guess it's because Jose Bonilla. God, if we could just get him to be a little bit better in terms of defense. That's his big thing. In fact, let's look at let's look at his development. Yeah, his power. Yeah, let's not even worry about your power. Let's just fully focus on your defense. Your running's already good. Your gap. Yeah, you're fine. Let's just go ahead and focus on. Oh, wait. I wanted to see that. Tangible losses, neutral. Interesting. That's interesting. Well, let's take the gap. And let's put the gap where the eye is. And then let's move the eye up. All right. So, yeah, that's where we're at with this episode. Next episode, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programs. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. You already know it's going to be... It's going to be our August, September, October trade deadline, stuff like that. You guys will see where we end up. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.